What's up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy Motor City Don P. We're back here once again, and you already know what time it is. It is that time to bust that rhyme, to talk about the grit and the grime. If it's about mine, I'm gonna get on my grind. You know I had to rhyme. You know what we do on this show, boy. We flow, boy. No, anyway. One thing is for certain, three things are for sure. When you see me in front of TV, number one, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. Number two, we came to give you stats, not none of that static. And number three, perhaps the most important number of them all, number three, want to make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And you may be asking yourself, how, Don? How, Mr. P, does one keep their Lions news pragmatic? Well, it's very simple. I'll tell you, I'm not going to keep the information from you because you know that's not how I get down. Got to smash that like button. Got to subscribe. Got to share. And who should you share with? You should share with your peoples. Once you've done these things, you've indeed kept your Lions news pragmatic. And since we're talking about your peoples and sharing is caring, once you've shared this with your brothers, your fathers, your sisters, your cousins, your uncles, your fathers, your brothers, your sisters, your neighbors, your fathers, you name it, you've indeed cared about these people. So we got some things to talk about today. And the thing that we got to talk about today ain't good. It's not good. Professional opinions. Dr. Chow has weighed in on the Kerby Joseph situation. So what up to everybody in the chat? What up to everybody who is chatting now and who will be chatting later? Shiv says, don't be shocked if Brad drafts a safety first, bruh. I wouldn't be shocked. And we'll talk about why that may not be a bad thing. We'll talk about that. We're cooked. Yeah, it seems so in the back end there. What up, though, Super Sailor Outlaw, George Isaac? Don, this goes back to why I chose option B last night, Linderbaum and Duggar. Facts. Social media doctors. Yeah, Dr. Child's not a social media doctor. He's on social media, but he's a doctor, real doctor, very trusted, deals with the NFL almost exclusively. So, yeah. Okay, this doctor did say he didn't examine Kerby's knee. He didn't, but we're going to get into it. We're going to read the article. All right, let me go ahead and read the article with you. As I do. Let me get the split screen going. So I can see what you guys say. All right. So this is an article for Detroit Lions on SI, John Macaroon. Shout out to Doc, friend of the show. Dr. David Chow gives alarming Kerby Joseph prognosis. Detroit Lions safety Kerby Joseph may not be able to play out the entire length of his contract extension, according to a prominent injury analysis expert. Dr. David Chow served as the head team doctor in the National Football League for a total of 17 years. So that precludes the whole social media doctor's, statement. Let me read that again. Dr. David Chow served as the head team doctor in the National Football League, not the UFL, not the AFL, not the CFL, not the PFL, not the XFL, the NFL. Okay? So, for a total of 17 years, long time, almost 2 decades. The current head of Sports Injury Central. Oh, he knows what he's talking about. Spoke to the Detroit Free Press on Radio Row at the Super Bowl to discuss his opinions regarding the prognosis for several Lions players, including Joseph. Dr. Chow was made aware the former third-round draft pick was considering non-surgical treatments for his knee, including the possibility of stem cell treatments. When this treatment was discussed, Dr. Chow gave an alarming opinion regarding the 25-year-old's long-term prognosis. It was acknowledged Dr. Chow had not reviewed any of Joseph's medical charts. Okay, this one's a little dicey here. Once again, rooting for him, said Dr. Chow, but Articular cartilage is the holy grail. If you could reproduce or regrow articular cartilage, you would win the Nobel Prize. Okay. It is the holy grail. It's the thread or it's the tread on your tires. You can't just get retreads or put new tires on it. How do you replace the rubber on your tires? That's the articular cartilage. Poor vasculature, very difficult. Obviously, he would need like a new knee, right? That's crazy. Um, has a player ever gotten a knee replacement surgery and then continued to play? I don't think so. Veteran Jadeveon Clowney was a comparison used as the defensive end underwent microfracture knee surgery. Very early in his career, Jadeveon Clowney had a microfracture surgery that is for full thickness cartilage loss in an isolated area. I said that can be career altering, said Dr. Chow. He's outproduced expectations. Look at his longevity, but that's also why he's never gotten a long term deal because everyone's always worried about that knee. For the all pro safety, the possibility of needing or thinking about stem cell therapy was considered alarming for the experienced physician. Kerby Joseph, I don't know the extent of his knee, but when you're starting to talk about stem cells, that means you're beyond even microfracture, said Dr. Chow. Look, Hail Marys get completed. Stem cells can help, but it's not one first down and you get to need to kneel down to win the game. It's not that. It's very dicey. I wish him the best, but this is not good news for a young player and not good news for the Detroit Lions. Look, if you can get some time out of him over the next year or two, a couple of years, I think that would be a victory. Dr. Chow commented further. Again, if you can get some time out of him over the next year or two, a couple of years, I think that would be a victory. Sometime. Sometime. If you can get some time, this is some BS. Dr. Chow commented further to say that he's going to fulfill his contract and get another one is a Hail Mary, and I hope I'm wrong. An update regarding Joseph's recovery was not immediately provided when Detroit Lions on SI inquired with those with knowledge of his rehabilitation. I'm gonna look at y'all comments. We're gonna look at you guys' comments. I would at least probably I would at least like this doctor to see Kerby's MRI. You know, I would normally say yes, look at the MRI. The most alarming thing that he said wasn't the time thing. It was the fact that he said, when you start talking about stem cells, it was the fact that he said, when you start talking about stem cells, you are beyond MRI. Not MRI. Hold on. You're beyond microfracture surgery. Now, when you look at microfracture surgery over the years, it's been bad. You go back and you look at people like Greg Oden. Mostly basketball players are the ones that get microfracture surgery. But microfracture surgery used to be a death sentence to your career. That's why the Jadeveon Clowney thing is the example because it wasn't a death sentence and he's gone on and he's still playing in the league. Right? He's been in the league for what, 10 plus years? Okay, cool. But when you're beyond the death sentence, that has to be the execution. Right? Like when you're beyond the death sentence, that has to be the execution. What else could it be? Okay, got the death sentence, now on death row. Then comes execution. So I mean, at the very least, it's death row. It freaking sucks, man. It sucks. What up, though, Mr. Morale 313? What the problem is? Well, Kerby Joseph's knee is the problem. I want to drive Penn State's ball hawking and playmaking. Zaki Wheatley, Kerby Joseph could be out soon. Zaki Wheatley. Now, do we know which round he's supposed to be going in? Yeah, I got it. This is not the news you want to hear about your all-pro safety, Kerby Joseph. It's not at all. Okay, the Vanilla Gorilla. Basically, what has happened is Kerby Joseph's knee has gotten a very, very poor prognosis. Now, the doctor did not officially examine Kerby Joseph's knee or look at his medical charts, but from his experience dealing with being the head doctor of the NFL for 17 years, for his experience dealing with sports injuries, he basically said the prognosis is not good. When you start talking about doing stem cell therapy, it ain't great. So that's beyond microfracture. Here's one thing that I can posit, right? This is the one thing that I would submit. Maybe he feels that with stem cells, you don't have to be go in there and be invasive and do the microfracture surgery. Maybe he feels that with stem cells, he can get back on the field faster. Maybe he's looking at microfracture surgery as the last resort. But again, what Dr. Chow said was when you start talking about stem cells, you are beyond microfracture surgery. Like microfracture surgery won't do anything for you. What I want to know is this. How much did the Lions know? When you have a degenerative knee issue, it doesn't just degenerate overnight. We learned about this injury or this issue in training camp. Kerby Joseph didn't just report to training camp and wake up the next day and had no cartilage in his knee. I think he was fine all last year, right? Didn't have any issues with it last year. And because of that, like that was, I don't know, maybe it just degenerated really quickly because if you look at the situation last year, he wasn't really dealing with injuries like that. He comes in, oh, he's got a knee injury at training camp. So you think, oh, he just like bumped his knee, or maybe it's a strain or a sprain or a twist, something. You don't think that the man has no more cartilage in his knee. Like at some point, you had to, it had to feel different last year. Like while you were playing, something had to, maybe he didn't tell anybody anything. Maybe he didn't say my knee's hurting, he just toughed it out. I don't know, bro. But when these players get physicals and things of that nature, Something should have come up. Kawhi Leonard came in the league, played a few years, became the Claw, and then started having problems with his knee. It wasn't just overnight. What up, though, Zach J? He might need a knee replacement. And that was the question that I asked. Has any player ever gotten a knee replacement and then played? It's like if you get, for example, Shannon Sharp talks about his hip replacement. He said he just doesn't have any more pain. He can't get but a certain, you know what I mean? Like you can't bend and stuff like you used to be able to with a real hip, but it's just the pain that's gone away. Right? What type of joint is the knee? The hip is a ball and socket joint. Does anybody know what type of joint the knee is? I wait. He got paid and his knee goes out. Ninja. This is job costing for the head team doctor. Or Melvin also. Because if Melvin knew and still handed him a 4-year deal. I wouldn't be surprised. If he knew. Because the Levi Onwuzurike situation is similar. There's no way in hell that you can tell me Levi's knee was hurting and they were like, "Oh, we'll see what happens. We'll just let it heal itself." Because they talked about this, about giving him this contract with a hurt knee. He's got a hurt knee, and then, oh, we just thought it was a little tweak here and there. This is what like Dan Campbell said. It was just like, but why would you not give him an MRI? Why would you not figure out what's wrong with his knee before you give him a contract? And then you know the rest. They find out he has a torn ACL. He goes and gets surgery, and he sits out the entire season. So we've already seen with Levi Onwuzurike, the phrase "my knee hurts" is not enough for the Lions to not give you another contract. It's also not enough for them to thoroughly investigate why your knee hurts before they give you another contract. So, did somebody know something about Kerby Joseph's knee? I feel like somebody knew something. I don't really feel like this was just it wasn't known. It wasn't. Melvin did say they didn't do the routine physicals with him when the deal got signed. Again, why not? Why not? It's routine. If it's routine and it's just a formality, you just do the formality to make sure. You're signing him to a 4-year extension. And in this 4-year extension, the AAV is 21.1 or $0.2 million per year. That's the AAV. That doesn't mean this is cap hit. We already gone over this. What stops you from doing a routine check when you're going to be paying somebody $20+ million a year? I would think that would be more incentive for you to do the routine check and for you to just go and say, all right, we're just going to handle the formalities right here. I don't. Zeki Wheatley is protected to go in the 3rd to 5th round in the 2026 NFL draft. All right, so 3rd round is where Kerby went. Cool. The Levi thing is about $60 million different. Both of them are bad things. Hey man, my knee hurts. Oh, that's cool. We're gonna give you $5 million. I, I don't know, man. I just felt like, what up, Doug Tactical Sport? The news on Kerby is that Dr. David Chow said he's cooked. He said he's rooting for him, but he's cooked. He said he's basically, if you get some time out of him over the next year or two, that would be a win. That's the synopsis of what's said. The Lions are going to have to restructure deals anyway. They're going to restructure Jared Goff for sure. You might want to restructure Amon Ra and Panay as well. But that's not. You're on the wrong channel if you think I'm worried about some money. Because and that's not a shot at you, but it's once you know how the contracts work, and you know how they hide money and they turn money into different things, and there's this loophole and that loophole, and there's this clause and that clause, and there's this option bonus, and there's we can take basically any time you have a hard salary cap. Okay, and this is just a brief synopsis. Anytime you have a hard salary cap, but then you have multiple ways to turn your base salary into something else, the hard salary cap is false. Is false. Right? If it was a hard salary cap and they said your salary cap is $100 million, just per se, okay? And that person over there is getting paid $80 million. Well, you'd have $20 million to go along for the rest of the people. But it's not a hard salary cap. It can be manipulated, like you said, restructure, all that stuff. So yeah, I'm not worried about no money at all. The money that they cry about not having, it's a cash flow situation. If Sheila was one of the richest owners, nobody would ever say anything. But she's, towards the bottom. A 5-year, 1-year flyer, sure. I think you mean a $5 million 1-year flyer, sure, but not a 4-year, $60-something million guaranteed contract. No, I don't really think either. Both of them are bad. I understand the difference between the money, but both of those things are bad. My knee hurts. Get a physical. Because Levi Onwuzurike, they knew his knee hurt. And they just thought because it was during the offseason that, it can't be anything serious. No, bro, go get a freaking physical. Go get an MIR. Get the thing thoroughly checked out before you sign on the dotted line for anything. Why would you give a person a contract for 1 year if they are in danger of not even playing that year. And it's not because you could sign the contract, go to training camp practice, and get hurt the next day or the same day. You could sign the contract. That's not the thing. It's pre-existing. It was a pre-existing condition. It existed pre you signing the contract. So when something exists pre you signing the contract, you don't sign the contract until we figure out what that is. I don't care if I'm giving you $60,000, right? I don't care if I'm giving you $60, right? Look, I'm gonna tell you this. It's my money. I'm giving you $60 to do a job for me. You're a crackhead. You've been a crackhead for a long time. If I want you to do that job because you have a pre-existing condition, being a crackhead, am I going to give you the $60 first, or am I going to wait until you've done the job and then give you the $60? Yes, I'm going to wait until you've done the job. Now, here we're talking about millions of dollars. So, no, I'm not saying I'm going to wait for you to hit the field. I am going to make sure that you get that examination that you need to get. And it's as thorough as possible, because I am going to sign you to a contract for millions of dollars, which means I owe you millions of dollars. And if it's an injury guarantee in there, or, something due to injury, that's fine. But before I even put you on my books, if you have an injury concern, because, and then you look at the player that we're talking about Levi Onwuzurike. Levi Onwuzurike, been on the team 5 years, only did one healthy season. This is the point. So I get what you're saying. Like, there's a difference between the money, but there's no difference between the process that they should have, undertaken before signing, giving anybody, either one of these players, a contract to sign. I love Kerby Joseph, and I want him to get all of his money. But if you knew about this, you should have done something. Whether you made it a shorter extension, whatever the case may be, you should have done something differently. And the fact that they didn't do the routine physical before they signed Kerby Joseph, they didn't do the routine physical before they signed Levi Onwuzurike, is a problem. That is a problem. That's falling in love with your players to the nth degree. It's malfeasance. It's ridiculous for you to do.
Good afternoon.
All right. Let's see what we got going. This is gross negligence or incompetence. Facts. The contract is written in a way to protect the Lions in 2027 and beyond with injury guaranteed money. Kerby got most of his guaranteed money up front. Brad knew the knee could be a problem from and that's fine. Right? That's fine. But here's the other problem. You knew the knee could be an issue. Okay? Contract, the way the contract is written is cool for them. They get an A+. Right? A+ for contract work. I never talk about the Lions not knowing what they're doing as far as contracts. Because as I told you, Kerby Joseph has very little base salary the first few years of his contract. Okay? A lot of his base salary is not base salary. It's option bonuses. Right? And now we're talking about injury guarantees, injury language, and all that stuff. Cool. When did Kerby Joseph sign his extension? Does anybody know when Kerby Joseph signed his extension? Was it last offseason? So if you were working on this contract with Kerby Joseph and you put language in there talking about injuries because you knew that the knee could be a problem in the future, why did you use 3 third-round picks on Isaac Tesla? Because the third round is the same round in which you drafted Kerby Joseph. The third round is the same round in which you drafted Aleem McNeil. The third round is the same round in which you skipped over Yahya Diaby, Bryant Young, Colby Turner, on and on and on and on and on. The third round is the same round in which Russell Wilson was drafted. The third round is a valuable round. And if you knew that you had a safety that had knee concerns, instead of just putting language in a contract that would protect you money-wise, why didn't you protect this roster? Because you thought that Daniel Thomas and who else? Who was the other Legion of Whom safety? I don't even remember his name. But he played a lot down the stretch. Daniel Thomas and the dude's name escapes me. I can't even think of initials right now for him. He was number 12. I know the number. Harper, Thomas Harper. Did you think that you had addressed the situation with Thomas Harper and Daniel Thomas? Is that what you thought? 2 practice squad guys? Okay, cool. I'm just saying. We all take that money. Yeah, we would take that money. We would take it. It's not on me not to take it. It's on you not to give it to me. I'm going to take that money because I've played. Listen, I'm not begrudging Kerby Joseph at all. Kerby Joseph earned that money. He did. He put his body on the line and all this other stuff, and he was playing out a rookie contract. Well, when that rookie contract ends, if you are that dude like Kerby is, he's an all-pro safety, you get a very significant raise. No problem. But then the team has to do 2 things. They have to use language to protect themselves in the contract, which they did, but they also need, if they know, they need to draft a replacement. They don't have to do a high draft pick. They don't. Third round pick. You can get a nice safety in the third round. We got Kerby Joseph in the third round. He's an all-pro. But instead, we were busy drafting people like Broderick Martin and Hendon Hooker and Isaac Tesla and using third-round picks to trade up into the 4th round so we could draft Manu. See, y'all are going to start to see. Y'all are going to start to see all how bad those picks were. Even the Brad bathwater drinkers should be able to admit that if you knew about Kerby's knee, Isaac Tesla was irresponsible. It was irresponsible. So that's all I'm saying. And we didn't know this before we re-signed him. That's the thing. We surely did. $5 million 1-year flyer. Yeah, I got talk to chat isn't working well. It's all good. I get you. They did say they did full diagnostics when they signed Reader. Okay, that's cool. But why didn't you do it for Onzarike and, and freaking and so here's the thing. Reader and Onzarike are the same person injury wise. Reader obviously has been more healthy throughout his career, right? But both of them were just coming off of injuries. You sign Reader after he came off his second quad tear. You sign Levi Onwuzurike after, yeah, he did play his first full season, but you first healthy season, but you also had 3 years prior evidence to what he did before that first full season. And surprise, surprise, that first full season was in a contract year. Amazing he can stay healthy for a contract year. Onwuzurike should have been the same thing. Kerby Joseph should have been the same thing. If you knew about his knee beforehand, you should have done it all. Full diagnostics. I thought it was protocol to have a physical before signing a contract in the NFL. It is protocol. The Detroit Lions love their guys, so they broke protocol. Yes. More baffling. Sounds like a lack of due diligence, like it's too much work to do physicals or something. Yeah, as if Brad was doing it all by himself. I got to get this dude a physical and sign a contract and write up the language. I'm going to skip the physical this time. Kerby Joseph didn't miss a game with the Lions before the 2025 season or in college because of a knee injury. His knee situation seems perplexing. And that's why I'm telling you. You don't just have a debilitating knee injury overnight. Degenerative knee injury. It doesn't just degenerate. You don't just wake up one day and all the cartilage fell out your knee. You wake up, your knee hanging over the bed, you got a gash in your knee, and you look on the floor, you be like, what's that? Oh, that's my cartilage. God damn. It don't work that way. It doesn't. I think it was right around the time McNeil signed his. Yes, he signed last offseason. Okay, right. April 2025. Cool. That means if it was April 2025, you know what that means? It was before the draft, because the draft is at the end of April. Or it was right after the draft, or something. Listen, Isaac Tesla, 3 third-round picks. I'm just saying. I thought Kerby was a Brad midseason special. No, that was offseason. Kerby was offseason. The reason this happened is because the Lions are a hope for the best organization. Yeah, they love their guys. Oh, we love Kerby Joseph. It'll be all right. He was there for us when we drafted him. It'll all work out. Nah, it wasn't Millette. It was Thomas Harper. Yeah, Thomas Harper. Don't worry, we have Dan Jackson. Facts. He's gonna be back in the mix, I guess. 7th rounder that we can put all our hopes and dreams on. That's the point I was trying to make. Brad protected the money but screwed the roster, and your Tesla take was spot on. Facts. April 24th, 2025, before the draft. Wow, that makes the Tesla pick look really bad now. We knew it was bad. So it tells me it's something you said last night. Hope for the best for our own guys, but outside guys, nope. Go get checked. Yeah. They're afraid of the outside guys, bro. I've been talking about most of this season and off season. I've been talking about the exclusivity of our of our organization. It's such an exclusive. It's like a freaking country club, bro. You just can't get in. You have to be grandfathered in. It's got to be nepotism. You got to know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. There's two things Brad is always going to do: try to make the golf trade look good and try to sign his draft picks because that means they're good picks. Well, Hendon Hooker, Broderick Martin, Manu say, hold my beer. I don't, Tesla is a far better player than all of those guys, but it was just the pick was dumb. It was a bad pick because of what you gave up. If you had just drafted just him in the third round and you had those other 2 third-round picks, it still wouldn't have been great because it's like, why are you taking a receiver in the third round when you need other things? However, it's 85 times worse now because he came with 3 third-round picks. So what is going on, Dr. Detroit? Dr. Chow, it's Dr. Dr. Chow basically has said Kerby's knee is cooked. And if you get any time from him at all in the next 1 or 2 seasons, it's a win. Basically, that's what it is. Yeah. Does Sheila know how bad Brad effed up? Yes, she knows. she's in the draft in the war room with him effing up. You know what I'm saying? So excited about Broderick Martin. So excited about, because that's what they tell her. Be excited about Broderick Martin. Oh, he's going to transform his body. He comes from a small school, but he's got so much upside. 4 teams in 1 year does not tremendous upside make. Yeah, I'm done with Melvin. Cut our losses and find someone else. Well, the problem is we're in the off season. So you had to give him 1 more year at least. I'm sorry, it's time for Brad to GTFOH. Yeah. I like Tesla, but 3 picks is ridiculous. Another dumb Brad move. That was dumb. What up, though, Commonwealth? Commonwealth D9966. Brad took Pascal in the second round with a cancer diagnosis, so this should not be a surprise coming from Brad. Here's the thing with the Pascal pick. I don't dislike the Pascal pick because of the cancer. I dislike the Pascal pick because of the other injuries and the fact that the production he's got 5 sacks in 3 years. And they're going to bring him back. And they're going to bring Onzarike back because of the contract situation. Trade them. Trade them for a 7th round pick. Both of them at one time. Trade them both to the same team for 1 7th round pick. If Pascal was able to be, and a lot of the injuries that Pascal had nothing to do with the cancer. Right? Now, if you want to say because he had to get, I don't know, I don't think he got chemo. But whatever treatment he got, if you want to say this weakened his bones or whatever the case, and weakened his system, like I'll understand that one. But I think Pascal was a miss. And this is what I was saying yesterday. Pascal was just a miss. So they are afraid of outside guys, but we will pick up Joe Suffy off the couch. Make it make sense. I don't know, because they're on the couch, so they can't be troublesome. 6 yards in the red zone and a rookie tight end hurt. He will put up, I think you mean 6 TDs in the red zone. He will put up 700 to 800 next year. That's fine. Tesla's not a bad player. And there's a lot of people that do this. Tesla's not a bad player. He was a bad pick. because he doesn't affect your team in a way that is going to mask the holes, that are going to fill the holes everywhere else. Tesla doesn't help you on the offensive line. Tesla doesn't help you in the defensive secondary. Tesla doesn't help you on the defensive line. Tesla doesn't help you at corner. He doesn't help you at safety. He doesn't help you at left tackle. He doesn't help you at center. He doesn't help you at any of these things that you need to go. Tesla himself, very good player, very bad pick, because not only did you draft a wide receiver in the 3rd round when you didn't need a wide receiver, when you needed other things, you used 3 third-round picks to draft this wide receiver in the 3rd round. That's my point. And there were people like the Chicago Bears trading 3rd-round picks to get people like Joe Thuney. There were people like Howie Roseman and the Philadelphia Eagles using 3rd-round picks to go get Jalen Phillips. There were people using 3rd-round picks and trades to go get people that could help their team now. We have Amon-Ra St. Brown. We just re-signed J-Mo. We could have just re-signed Khalif. Sorry, we didn't re-sign J-Mo. We extended J-Mo. Got to use the right terminology. Khalif Raymond. How much do we need from our third wide receiver when our 3rd wide receiver really is Sam Laporta? So our 3rd wide receiver becomes our 4th wide receiver. Sam Laporta got hurt, injured. Hopefully he'll be fine. He's young enough. So we'll see what happens. Oh, God. All right. Why do we do this? Brad is the best GM in Lions history. Guys, shut up. Just shut up and be grateful. He's the best thing that's ever happened to Detroit. Don't complain. He's infallible. He's infallible. I'm sure that he could come in and he could sleep with your mothers and nothing. You can't say anything about him. Everything he does is right. He has taken us to multiple Super Bowls. What? No Super Bowls? All right. Well, at least, we don't have the Lombardis, but at least we've been to the Super. We haven't been there? Oh. Well, damn. Okay. He's taken us to multiple NFC championships. Only one? Only one NFC championship game? Didn't we do that with Barry Sanders? We went to one NFC championship game. We didn't win it, which is why we didn't go to the Super Bowl. We didn't win the one that we went to with Brad, which is why we didn't win the Super Bowl. I'm sorry. I just didn't know that Brad has taken us to places that we've never been before. I didn't know that. That's crazy. Brad should go back to scouting and keep his GM bias out of it. You let me know how that's going. Okay. What I want to see is 5 years from now, us having multiple Super Bowl appearances and at least winning one. That's what I would like to see 5 years from now. So you let me know how that's going in 5 years if we've done any of those things. That's all I'm saying. Hold on. You know, Brad thought to himself right before the Tesla pick, this is the next Puka. And the crazy thing is he had a chance to draft Puka. He drafted Broderick Martin instead. Who cares if Brad's the best GM in our history? Still isn't good enough. Yeah, it's you know. Yeah, but don't forget we had the best center in the league up and retire on us out of the blue. And guess who drafted the best center in the league? Bob Quinn. And guess who drafted Taylor Decker? Bob Quinn, who has Brad Holmes drafted on the offensive line to contribute to the best offensive line of football. Well, that was one Penei Sewell. I've gone over this before. Before we drafted Tate Ratledge this last draft, the next highest draft pick used by Brad Holmes on the offensive line was Manu in the 4th round. And also, since you want to defend Brad, Brad came out and told you in his press conference at the end of the season that there were breadcrumbs. There were breadcrumbs regarding Frank Ragnow retiring. If you're not familiar with what breadcrumbs means, you know, back in the day when people used to go for walks in the woods, they would drop breadcrumbs behind them so they wouldn't get lost. So they know where to get back to. Once they got to their destination, now the breadcrumbs, they turn around and follow them and they leave a trail and they lead them back to their original destination or their original location. So breadcrumbs is a colloquialism for clues that lead to an outcome. So Brad Holmes himself told you there were breadcrumbs, and he still did not address the center position in the draft. You are contradicting yourself. Tesla only helps you in the wide receiver room, which, by the way, was already pretty good. Facts. Everyone blaming the center for retiring maybe should have been drafting Knight 2 to 3 years prior. Absurd thinking. Or right 2 to 3 years. Yeah. Tesla wide open with golf on the ground. Exactly. We all know we need an edge, and Brad tells everyone he's the smartest guy in the room, but results are still the same. Melvin needs to go back to Hertz. Brad. Because we've been so bad for so long, apparently we should just be happy we're decent now. Right. He not gonna have Kerby or Branch next season. We're not gonna have Kerby or Branch next season. Lions going backwards. Well, we gotta sign and draft. And didn't the best GM in Lions history say himself there were breadcrumbs Frank could retire? Yes, he did. So not fully out of the blue. No, not at all. I'm not a believer in Goff either. He sucks to me. There's a lot of polarization with Goff. Brad needs to get some sense not to injury-prone players. You mean sign and draft? Yeah, he shouldn't be doing that. People that think Goff sucks don't know ball or a good QB. Facts. All right, he doesn't suck. He's just not mobile, and that's what everybody wants. All right. I've heard the opposite, that if Kerb rehabs right, he will play next season. You're going off some that's saying that ifs and my nots. If this was true, they would have let him go on an injury settlement. Did you not hear the person who is making this assessment? So when you go to a doctor, I just want to ask you this question. Would you rather have a doctor that has 3 minutes of experience or a doctor that has 3 decades of experience? I'll wait for your answer. Would you rather go to a guy that was the head of the NFL doctors for 17 years, or would you rather go to a guy that is on social media and you can't verify his credentials? He did say he hadn't seen the MRI, he hadn't seen the charts and everything, but he was going on his experience as to what happens in these situations. And he said he's rooting for him, but it doesn't look good. That's generally what we do. Frank spoke about retiring after the NFC Championship game against the Niners, just like Taylor Decker. This has become my favorite Lions show, especially at night. Great show, my brother. Appreciate you, Brian. Rather have one who looked at my knee, not one that hasn't. And that's fine. That is fine. But the ones that have looked at his knee are not saying anything. If they were saying something, then we would get what they said. He was asked about it. He gave his opinion, and he is very qualified to give his opinion. I'm just saying. It's just like if you went to a person who called himself a Lions creator or a Lions podcaster, and he didn't know who Jared Goff was. It's it's simple. I can go as far back as Barry Sanders. I can't go as far back as Billy Sims. I was alive, but I didn't know what was going on. But I can go back almost 40 years. So that's all I'm saying. Stop blaming Rags. Brad should have drafted depth years prior. He definitely should have. And this is what we're saying. There were breadcrumbs. He knew something was going on. He didn't do it. He drafted a receiver. No news is good news from them doctors. Oh, it's not. The point is this. We knew he was getting stem cell treatment. Dr. Chow said stem cell treatment is beyond microfractures surgery. Microfracture surgery, except in the case of Jadeveon Clowney, is usually a death sentence. So what he was saying was that when you go to stem cell treatment, you are beyond microfracture surgery, meaning microfracture surgery won't even help you. So you're going beyond the death sentence. This is bad news. that's the only point. This is bad news. Can you post the article link? Sure can. I did read the article with the people, so they all know, but I'll post it anyway. All right. Before I get out of here, y'all, I would like to post another link. What's happening with these links? Okay, there we go. All right, they came up. All right, themockmachine.com, the long-awaited wait is over. It is now open for testing. So anybody that wants to test it, go to themockmachine.com, sign up, create an account, play around with it yourself. get together with a group of friends, do the what do you call it? The general manager mode with friends. You can do mock drafts with friends. You can do mock drafts with just the AI. You can do the general manager mode just with AI. General manager mode has everything, right? I don't think that I put the legal tampering period in it, so I'm still adding features, but the nuts and the bolts and the bones are there. So you can sign free agents. Um, I'm revamping some of the design elements. I just didn't like the way they looked at first. I thought it looked too generic. So I've given it mostly most of the facelift is done. There's still some elements that I'm working on. But just tell me about any bugs that you find. If the salary cap is not sinking, I do need to add more to the NFL Contract 101 page. There is a film room in there. So all of the top prospects, I think it's the top 100 prospects. So like Mendoza, Reese, um, Fanu, like all of these people that you've been hearing about, you go into the film room, you click on their names, their highlights pop up. It is the most extensive mock draft simulator that you will find on the market. No one else has done anything like this. No one else has done anything that has looked as good as this. Uh, no one else has done anything that has been as responsive and as immersive as this. So go and try it out. Report any bugs. Um, and yeah, I hope you enjoy. Um, I'm 46, been watching since I was 4 or 5 years old. Until we win an NFC championship, it's SOL. I love them, but realistically, I expect nothing because we've won nothing since the 1950s. These are facts. Cool. I'll check it out over the weekend. Thanks for the show. No problem. No problem. I put your channel out on the other shows I watch. Keep up the great work. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Um, Losing Kerby to a new replacement will be horrible. It will be, Lisa. It will be. Um, so again, guys, for all the mock, if you know a mock draft head, if you're not a mock draft head, if you know the guy that does 40 mock drafts a month leading up to the draft, that guy needs to go to the mockmachine.com. So make sure you put people on there. And let me know if there's problems signing up, any type of problems. You don't have to sign up to use it, but you do have to sign up if you are going to be creating draft rooms and inviting people. If you're going to be doing the GM mode and inviting people to play with you, so you would need to be signed up. So that, and then those people would need to be signed up as well. I'll obviously sign up for free. Everything is free right now. Um, I'm thinking of some upgrades um as far as like saving GM sessions and all that stuff, but it probably wouldn't be anything more than $2 to $5 a month, something like that. But right now, everything is free. So you can use it, you can share it with friends and family, um, and just let them know where you got it from. And so they'll come over and subscribe. All right, y'all. Appreciate you once again for coming through, stopping by for drinks and conversation. Um, It does. I'm proud of the redesign. I'm glad you like it. All right. Once again, the Motor City Cats R&D back at it. We came to give you stats, not none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your lines news pragmatic. And we are out. Peace. We'll see you tomorrow.